Hey everybody, welcome back to the 6 Round Post-Fight Show with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, as always, Eddie Mercado. We're coming to you after the UFC's final event of their 3-event stretch in Jacksonville, Florida. Wrapping up with the UFC Fight Night card, Alistair Overeem defeating Walt Harris in the main event. And, you know, I mean, we all knew that there was a potential for this to be a really tragic main event going in. But the UFC really kind of put a 1-2 punch in there, because I didn't realize until they started talking about it with him walking out that it was also Alistair Overeem's birthday.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're just like, am I rooting against Overeem on his birthday, or am I rooting against Walt Harris to as my wife says, Walt Harris the bereaved.
Yeah, Walt the bereaved.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's an icky kind of thing. And it's also, why it's so hard to build star power within the UFC, because you can't write the scripts.
Yeah.
So had this been the WWE or professional wrestling or anything where you can control the outcomes without getting into like fixing fights and all that garbage, you can't write the script. So perfect world, Walt goes out. He ends up getting that finish there in the first after he rocks Overeem. Happy day. He gets on the mic. Everyone starts crying. It's a proud moment. The world is perfect. It cures COVID-19. You know what I mean? It's like the best thing that would ever freaking happen. But like, that's not real life.
No.
Like, it's just not real life. And you just can't script MMA fights. And that's why it's so hard to get those storylines going. And it's so hard to promote them. And
unfortunately, too, in the wake of that, you're left kind of wondering, like, did Walt Harris kind of was it a bad idea to rush back to competition so fast? Was he actually ready? Is he like?
I mean, I'm not even going to entertain that question, because there's no real answer to that outside of asking Walt Harris, and I don't want to ask Walt that question.
No. Clearly, he feels like he was ready. We were just talking about this before the show started, whether there's this air around the event that all the promotion work and all that stuff that the UFC did surrounding Nia Blanchard's murder, or Nia Blanchard's murder, was exploitative. And like, they really leaned into it. It was all over the event. But at the same time, at least for me, I kind of feel like Walt Harris seemed very much like this was something he wanted to have be a major part of this event.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm also 100% sure that the UFC approached him with this idea and sold it to him like it was the best idea ever. I also believe that.
Which then that does raise more questions than it answers. But
right, exactly. And if we're talking about, did the UFC exploit this scenario? I mean, yes. Do they do it in a tasteful manner? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a real 50-50 thing. I mean, for me, I'm just hoping that at the end of all of this, I can't say win or lose, but even in a loss, Walt Harris walks out feeling like he got some catharsis out of it. He got to share his, love for his daughter with more people. He got to bring that story out to the forefront and give people something, give people a part of his life, and he got to get back to something that he loves, even if he didn't win. I'm hoping that the eventual thing is something that is healing for him. It may not be, but one can hope.
It's such an icky feeling, man. I wanted him to win so bad.
Yeah,
I wanted him to get a dub, and Overeem has him flattened out there after rocking him with that head kick to southpaw cross, and I'm looking at Walt. He's covering up. He's not wanting to quit, and then I'm just like, I catch him. I'm like wishing for a miracle to happen. Like, can Sting come down from the rafters or something? Like, can something happen to where, like, this is just, I don't know, man. I just felt horrible. I'm like, I'm watching someone who recently lost a child. I'm watching them get pummeled, and like, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, what is wrong with me? I'm like questioning myself now. Like, what am I doing watching this?
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately that's kind of bred into the bone of this sport.
No, it is. Like it is, and I can't look away. But it's like you just can't script it, and that's the biggest issue with having a business model that resembles WWE's.
Yeah. It's and it's tough for the UFC too, because now we're running back-to-back events where the main event has had an air of tragedy that overshadows the entire rest of the card.
Yeah, but that's the thing with even having this fight to begin with, is the UFC was taking a huge gamble, and if Walt would have won, it would have been a major success. The UFC would have looked great. They'd had a new face, a new star, young blood in the heavyweight division. It was a gamble. So like,
he's only a couple years younger than Overeem, but yeah.
But not fight-wise.
No, but not fight-wise.
Fight-wise, he's an infant compared to Overeem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a big gamble, and it just didn't work out and didn't pay off.
No,
because
it's very much the whole thing with Tai Tuivasa fighting Junior Dos Santos in that headline spot down in was it Australia, I think?
Yeah, I think it was.
Coming out with, or I think it was New Zealand, actually. I don't remember now. Tuivasa.
Oh, the Auckland card? Was it Auckland?
Yeah, I think it was Auckland. And Tuivasa comes out with like the huge intro and all that. And it's like, oh man, there's this great sense of like, this is Tai Tuivasa's moment. And then JDS just goes out there and like flatlines him.
Yeah, MMA hates us, man. It will never just do what we want it to do.
Yeah, it's true.
It cannot be domesticated.
Unfortunately, too, if we start digging deeper into this UFC card, it's kind of an overshadow of a bunch of stuff that fans hated anyway. Like, this whole card was UFC overshadowed, where we got a bunch of fun fights that were all like razor thin contentious decisions that nobody liked.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't agree with some of the decisions, but like I won't be like, oh, so and so was robbed. They were really close bout, and I love close fights.
Yeah,
I love competitive fights just as much as I love a quick, Yeah,
there was a lot of drama, and I think there were in each fight, Song Yadong, Marlon Vera, Dan Ige, Edson Barboza, Cláudia Gadelha Angel Hill. It's interesting that it's like, you really had this feeling of you're watching and you're just like, this person had the more dramatic moments. This person had the more consistent moments. And there's, when you're scoring those kinds of fights, it's always going to be hard for judges to get those right. And it's always going to be contested. It's always going to make fans unhappy. I personally, I picked, Edson Barboza to win going in. I picked Marlon Vera to win going in. I thought that Vera and Barboza both won by the end of both their fights, but I'm not like going out and going on the warpath here.
No, I mean, because they were great fights. They were just really great fights. Especially like the Vera Yadong fight. Yeah. That was like, I don't know. It was real hard because I feel like there weren't really the moments where anyone was like really hurt. Whereas in the Barboza, I mean, you rock the dude with you drop him in the first round, right? And then you sting him with a knee to the liver. Was it the third?
Second round. He hurt him to the body, got on top of him, beat him up to the bell. Was
in my opinion, the closest that round came to ending.
Yeah.
So that's 2 in the bag for Barboza, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that one, it's not a robbery, but damn it, if that ain't close.
Yeah. Let's jump in though with the co-main event that also made a lot of people unhappy, and Cláudia Gadelha's split decision win over Angel Hill.
Yeah.
I scored this fight for Hill, but I will admit, when scoring it for Hill in that third round, I really was asking myself, is it just that I like Angela Hill? Because this round is razor thin, and I think Gadelha ended it with a bit more momentum. And there really was no clear dividing line for like, oh no, third round absolutely should have gone this way. So
yeah, that was close, you know.
Yeah.
So I can't be mad at the decision. I thought Hill took it. I thought she landed more, you know. And since there weren't moments where someone was, you know, visibly shaken, when situations like that happen, and no real damage. I guess if any damage was really being dealt out, it was from Hill. Gadelha was bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
So I got to go with the volume of Hill in that third. So
yeah,
2 and 3 to Hill, in my opinion.
You know, I think the looking at the stats here, not that obviously judges don't have stats. We go through this every time. For fights like this where, I mean, Hill did drop Gadelha in
the second.
But you know, outside of that round, which Hill outlanded Gadelha anyway, I mean, you really are kind of looking at volume to tell the tale. And, you know, round one, Gadelha outstrikes Hill 2-1, 21-10, 28-13, significant versus total. Round two, Hill outlands Gadelha 37-29, 37-30, with a knockdown. And then, round three, she outlands Gadelha 43-34. So, I mean, Hill had a real strong argument to get that win, but it, you know, 43-34 in a late round, in a round like that, like that's a lot of volume with a lot of momentum swings back and forth where it feels like people are getting stung a bit, getting wobbled a bit, getting tired. If you don't have that data in front of you, it's going to be hard to parse.
Yeah, you're really splitting hairs. It's hard judging live. Like it really is. Like commentating live, judging live. Like these are not easy things. They're jobs we take for granted just because we expect them to be done perfectly every time. But like they're really hard. There's a lot of human error that goes into those.
Yeah. Weird thing though for me here was after the fight. I guess it's kind of smart because it's a fight she's almost certainly going to get. And if she just wants to fight again, calling out a fight that you're very likely to get booked is smart. But Cláudia Gadelha calling out Carla Esparza. This is like,
I get it.
I mean, I don't know that a lot of people didn't feel like you necessarily won that fight the first time, but you technically you have this win already. It's kind of a weird call out.
I mean, I kind of understand it in the terms of, it's like almost buying out the competition, right? It's like you see someone on a run going, you know, Esparza's got 3 right now in a row. So she's kind of making a run of the title. So if Gadelha can just intercept that, steal that momentum, now all of a sudden Gadelha's got 3 in a row. And that third one is someone who was on 3 in a row. You know, that's a good look for her. So she's positioning herself to get back into contention. So I get it.
Yeah, no, there's some sense to it. It's just a little like unaspirational, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing worse than calling out someone you already beat. Yeah. That's the absolute worst.
But at the same time, like I say, I mean, it's also probably a fight that, you know, if she wants to fight again next month, that's a fight that could be made next month, you know? Like, Gadelha or Esparza's already on Twitter being like, yes, I will take this fight right away. So for UFC matchmakers, you know, it makes their job easy in that case.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gadelha needs some time off after this one, though. She got busted up out there.
True, and you never know with fighters. Some of them, she might need 3 or 4 months off, or 8 months off with a bad injury, or you know, the face might heal up and she'll just be ready to go. That's
true. That Nate Landwehr dude, he just got knocked out and he's already on the card.
Yeah, no. We'll get to him in a bit, but that dude's just mental.
Yeah.
All right. Before that, let's get to this Danny Edson Barboza fight.
Real quick, Zane. Sorry. We got to mention that Hill did so freaking well in this fight that she definitely proved her worth as an elite strawweight. Like she's done it. She will be ranked top 10 or top 15 come next week. It has to be.
I don't know. I mean, the way the rankings panel works, like you're talking about a bunch of part-time radio hosts, they only tend to award rankings based on whether or not somebody has gone out and beat somebody in the rankings. So She definitely deserves it. She is a top ranked, she's an elite action fighter. She's proven that she's improved a lot. She's shown consistent development in her game. She's taken herself from being a sort of fringe UFC talent, somebody who got cut from the UFC and pushed back to Invicta, to being a surefire, will fight every single month action fighter that, she's filling that Donald Cerrone mold where it's just
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You stay busy and you are ready to fight all the time. And, since she's always puts on entertaining fights, she'll get the call every time they need somebody.
Yeah, and I doubt she's like a high dollar, payout. That's breaking the bank for the UFC. But yeah, and she's racking up so much experience, man.
Yep.
That matters.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt either that not only is she incredibly tough, but strawweights don't hit that hard,
Yeah.
She's not going out and getting her bell rung that bad. I mean, it makes Cerrone's run all that more, like the successes he's had, all that more remarkable when you consider that like lightweights hit way harder.
Oh, by leaps and bounds.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I mean, this showed that Hill could have won this fight. She could be ranked like top 6 right now.
Yeah.
Off of this win. And instead, I mean, I hope they give her a ranking. She deserves it, but she might also just be sitting still on the fringes of the top 15, just waiting to take the next fight when somebody gets injured next month,
All because the panel doesn't know who she is.
Yeah.
All
right, now let's get to this Danny Yates and Barboza bout. And I think of all the fights on this card, this is probably the most contentious decision of them. Well, actually, I mean, it was a Song Yadong Marlon Vera fight.
Yeah.
That both guys looked like they didn't understand the score being read to them. But Barboza was definitely also like totally shocked when this decision didn't go his way.
Rightfully so, man. If you almost finish the fight in 2 separate rounds, and your opponent does not almost finish the fight in 2 separate rounds in a 3-round fight, you win. Like, you should win. There should be, unless it's like you rock your dude right off the gate and then he just miraculously comes back and just starts kicking your ass. Like, okay. Like, all right. But, like, that's not what happened.
No.
Like, and Ige did great, and he threw tons of punches and connected a bunch, and he did damage. But, like, the fight-ending moments or near-fight-ending moments in 2 different rounds went to Barboza. So how can you score against that?
Yeah, and they also, like, we're talking stats again here, which not to lean on, but none of these rounds had a heavy difference in strikes landed. The biggest differences came, significant strikes were 1 and 3 with Barboza landing somewhere around 30 and Ige in the mid-20s in round 1 and 3, Barboza 19, Ige 25. But round 2, that split round where Barboza hurt Ige to the body and ended the round on top was 30-31 for significant strikes.
And that's the thing. That's when you go look at the damage.
Yeah.
Well, no, you look at the damage first, honestly. Exactly. That's what it should be. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, well, now what's the significant strike count? Yeah. Okay, what's the total strike count? And go from there.
Yeah. You look at the damage, and then if there's also a wide disparity that goes counter to the damage, like, oh yeah, this guy was beating his ass for 4.5 minutes and then got absolutely rocked in the last minute.
Right.
Then maybe you don't weigh getting absolutely rocked as heavily as you would in another situation. But
that, like OSP versus Ben Rothwell. I thought OSP, okay, he running for his life, 4.5 minutes, and then boom, rocks the dude more substantially than he was ever hurt in the entire fight at the end. Like, that's a round winning move there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know. But again, real time, you can't be like, okay, damage. All right, let's go to significant strikes. Let's go to, total strikes.
Also a thing, too, that I have to give credit to, and it's one of those things that I think as fans, people not sitting cage side, not doing the job, totally miss out on. is that we don't get to hear how loud and how significant different strikes sound. You know?
Sure.
Like a judge sitting cage side will see something hit or land, and they will practically be able to feel the impact of it themselves.
I mean, for the most part. I mean, it's still a small spectrum of impact that they're feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, even then, it's like a slap versus a thud. It's like,
I'm just saying,
being their cage side, you definitely get a better feel for, you know, how much velocity and power is being delivered in their shots when they land.
So there's a chance to argue for judges that being there, they hear things, they see things differently, they feel things differently than we do getting to see them just totally cold through a screen, where we're just like, oh, I can see the visceral reaction from the person there, but I can't really get a sense for how hard it hit them in the moment. It could be a shot that barely moves a person, but it, you know, if you're standing there, you're like, oh my God, that landed really hard.
Yeah.
But that's just giving a little benefit of the doubt to the process.
But I mean, on the same token, we also have the benefit of all the cool camera angles, and they could just be happening watching with the naked eye live, and they miss a lot.
No, yeah, we get a lot better view of the general dynamics, the total dynamics of the round than judges do. That's why we have 3 of them, because nobody's perspective, you don't want, you know, everybody's perspective to be the exact same. Yeah,
and even 3 doesn't seem sufficient. With
12 judges, no less than 12.
12, one watching on TV, one in the bird's eye view.
Yeah.
One from the ref.
That's right. Rough place for Barboza, though, who drops down to featherweight, trying to jumpstart his career, and is now on 3 straight losses. So,
yeah, that's a big fat buzzkill.
Yeah.
It's like he's in that Jose Aldo territory with that.
Yeah.
Without a Cejudo there to like save him and be like, no, you won that one, man. Come on.
Yeah. It's true.
That's tough, man. That's a tough one.
It is. All right. Now let's get to the worst fight on this card. Krzysztof Jotko.
As advertised, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a middleweight fight. Middleweight is always going to be weird, and I was kind of hoping to see Anders, like, his power might win out here, because I knew if it didn't, that Jotko would just kind of pick around him and win an ugly decision, and Anders' power didn't matter, so Jotko just kind of outmaneuvered him and picked up an ugly decision.
Yeah, the power didn't matter, and I think it was just like an over-willingness to try to clinch up and get force a takedown that just wasn't even going to be there.
Yeah, there's a sense from Anders always that he's been like super muscly and powerful and tough, and he's been relying on that a lot. And this fight kind of really felt like you need to actually technically wrestle. You can't just try to like be strong and throw this person around.
Right. That's that regional approach.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in the UFC the higher you rise through the ranks. But it just wasn't a good fight for Anders. You know,
no.
Like it seemed like his path here was just to go out and bomb and just be the more athletic, harder hitter, and like don't even worry about the grappling whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like let this guy try to come out volume you and out technique you, because all you need to do is land clean a couple times and boom. So it seemed like a bit of a strategic error on the part of Anders, but credit to Jotko for, you know, trusting his technique and having phenomenal takedown defense and just refusing to give anything to Anders.
Yeah, you do kind of wonder if Anders is getting a little lost in the sort of middle of his career, trying to transition from prospect to veteran, where it's just like it's not really sure what he needs to do to improve anymore. This kind of felt like that, where it just is like you're not leaning on the things that you were good at coming up, and you're not good enough at the things you've been learning to make them work.
My opinion, he needs to go to 205 and let them hands go.
Yeah, but when he did that, like, he took the beating of a lifetime against Thiago Santos at 205.
Yeah, but think about what you just said, though.
Khalil Roundtree, my God.
Well, Roundtree is like a freak, though, who like one day he's like Balkow and the other he's like, just I don't even know. But like, come on, man, Thiago Santos is a monster, like a monster.
I know, but light heavyweight's kind of full of those kind of weird dudes. Like that is the light heavyweight division, is all of these like weirdly powerful super athletes who are just kind of not that technical, but will hurt you worse than you've ever been hurt on a random night.
But like that's Eryk Anders' like only chance out, right?
It's true. Yeah, I mean it is the division that he is functionally built for. So
yeah, like go be that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be, his time in the UFC might not be that much. I mean, I guess he came into this on a 2-fight win streak, so he's not about to get cut. But it does just kind of feel like he's kind of floundering.
He's not a world beater. He's not a world beater. Like,
no, he's
not
floundering to find that next level.
Yeah.
That brings us to a featherweight bout, though. Song Yadong, Marlon Vera. I picked Vera to lose that first round and come back strong in the second and third and get this win. I think he kind of did, but judges didn't see it that way. And I get it. That second round was razor close.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, too, even though I feel like Vera snuck this out, I do feel like this fight did say a lot of good things about Song Yadong. Like, this was a better version of the fighter who fought, in his last bout, Cody Stamann to a draw.
Yeah.
Like, this was a more composed fighter through all 3 rounds.
That was a weird fight, too, though.
Yeah, it was. But, I think Yadong he's not just solved his cardio problems. He's not quite solved his tendency to maybe get in his own head a little, to be a little overconfident that somebody's going to go away and then be a little too surprised when they don't. But he's getting better at just sort of staying consistent across the board. So I don't know that I totally agree with this decision. I'm also just kind of a mark for Marlon Vera. But it was a fun as hell fight.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not love Cheeto? Just his persona as well as his backstory and everything he fights for. But Yadong looked good out there. I thought he was really composed. He did a good job of not letting Vera just completely make it a just crap, ugly fight. I mean, Vera he did his best to just make it a dogfight, and he was really forcing that clinch and really trying to force elbows in the clinch. And Yadong ate a few, but he really ate them well and was able to skirt out and not get trapped there. So showed some good composure out there, I think, and it's promising. Good fight from both. I'm a little bummed that one of them had to lose.
Yeah.
They're both so fun, but that's kind of just the division. It is. You know what else I like? I kind of like seeing 2 bantamweights fighting at featherweight. Like, they look healthy.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. I've been enjoying every time we get to see fighters fighting up a division.
Yeah,
it just kind of feels like, oh yeah, no, this could be. You guys could be looking healthier and more normal, even just one division higher than you normally are at.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
Like, he looks completely different from even Conor McGregor. I mean, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy seeing people fight at higher weight classes. Like, especially the OSP going to heavyweight. Like, that was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a freak show fight like that in some time. I need that in my life. The sport needs it. The UFC needs it.
Yeah. No, I would love to see more of that. I'd love to see them be more willing to just embrace catch weights and things like that. But, I think at some point, for better or worse, Joe Silva really, when he was there, imposed this very strict, hardline headmaster view of what the UFC should be and how it should be organized. And there will be order. everything will be perfectly aligned. Everyone will find a weight class, and they will only fight in that weight class, and our fights will only happen in these set weight classes.
Yeah.
And even with him gone, I think Dana White still very much marches to the beat of Joe Silva's drum.
Yeah, I mean, because it just makes sense. It's stability.
Yeah.
It's just logistically less of a headache if you just have everyone stay in their divisions and, nice and neat and go fight for your one title. You win your title, you defend your belt.
But especially with their divisions being so far apart, it does seem like it would be just nice to loosen it up just a little.
Man, honestly, dude, I want to see an open weight tournament.
Oh yeah, wow.
I do. It needs to be a thing.
That's just your, unrepentant nostalgia speaking.
No, it's not. It's my bloodlust and I love watching underdogs beat up guys a lot bigger than themselves.
Fair enough. It also means, though, seeing some huge dudes just absolutely pulp some little guys.
And that's fun in its own way.
Sure.
So I like the freak shows, man.
Yeah,
it should be more common.
We've got you pegged. But yeah, this was a big win, even debatable as it was. This was a big win for Song Yadong. Really, this is a fight that should start launching him into top 10 bouts. Dudes like Jimmy Rivera and Rob Font, guys like that.
Oh yeah. Oh man, him and Rob Font. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes, please, absolutely, please.
Yeah, there are some great fights out there waiting for him in the future, and this was kind of his turning point. This and Alejandro Perez in his last bout. These are the kind of super tough borderline, that's right, and Cody Stamen,
man,
super tough borderline top 15 gatekeepers.
You know what I just realized?
What?
These UFC rankings, man, I'm done with them. Dominic Cruz is back at number 12, bro, at bantamweight. I'm done, man. I'm done. He'll be out for 4 years. He's going to be a placeholder for 4 years at number 12.
I just tried to tell you they were terrible. All right. Let's get down, knock this down another notch to a welterweight bout. Miguel Baeza, Matt Brown, and man, Matt almost found that old man strength. Sent Baez's mouthpiece skittering across the ring, came out and put some hands on the young gun. But Baeza looked really collected and cool and calm, and he found some nice counters that ended up knocking Matt Brown out.
He was cool, calm, collected, and young.
Yeah.
He's just young and durable, and Brown is, he's a veteran. He's been around a long time. A lot of wars, a lot of damage, a lot of mileage.
He's climbing into the 40s, and those lighter weight divisions, they don't play the way heavyweight does. You can be a 40-year-old heavyweight and get away with a lot.
Yeah. Look at Overeem.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the lighter you are, the older you are, the worse time you're going to have. Brown, and they said this in the broadcast, the power's there. It's just everything else isn't,
Yeah.
Just slow, and he's not as durable as he used to be. So, shots that he used to be able to take now is really hurting him. And Baez is just, is the passing of the baton kind of thing. He's the future, man.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see if Brown takes many more fights after this, because I know he was talking about retirement even a couple fights ago.
Yeah, I think he did retire and came back.
He retired for 2 months. He had an MMA retirement. He had one of those the
Conor McGregor retirement.
The opposite of that Simpsons gif of Grandpa Simpson walking in and taking off his hat and looking at the room and then turning around and putting the hat back on and walking back out.
Yeah.
That, but in reverse.
Oh man.
But yeah, huge win for Baeza. Maybe the kind of fight that only gets him really tough fights from here on out, honestly. So it could be one of those secret hamstringing kind of things where.
Oh no, he'll be fighting Diego Sanchez next.
Or that. It could be that. Yeah, it could be going from Matt Brown to Diego Sanchez to, I don't know, the rundown of tired old
Tim Means, you know what I mean?
Oh man, Tim, that hurts, but I know it's true, but it hurts.
It's just real. It's just real. Well, honestly, Tim would have to get a win first.
Yeah. Oh,
my bad.
Yeah.
I love Tim Means.
All right, let's get to a middleweight bout. Kevin Holland, Anthony Hernandez.
Goodness.
Man, Holland had no respect for Anthony Hernandez out there.
None whatsoever. This looked regional, man. Oh man. He just came right at him. He's like, we're not touching gloves.
Yep.
He's like, I'm better than you, and I'm going to come and put the stamp on you, and you're probably going to fold. And that's what happened. Yeah, that freaking knee to the body. Oh my God. It made me want to throw up. That was so brutal.
No kidding.
I don't blame Hernandez at all for crumbling from that thing.
No. I mean, that's the thing. You get the wind knocked out of you. There's not really any way that you're about to bounce back from that, The body just doesn't fight. You're going to need a minute, and you can't take a minute in the cage.
Yeah.
So, beautiful work from Holland, and it keeps him healthy, which keeps him online for his goal of cutting all the way down to 170 pounds and fighting Mickey Gall in 2 weeks.
Yeah. The chances of that happening.
They are very slim. I still hope the UFC just is like, screw it, let's do it. Let's make this happen.
Holland's fun, man. He's fun on the microphone. He's got this weird quirkiness to him. And he can do stuff like this.
As I think it was our, my Vivisection co-host Connor put it perfectly on Twitter. Remember, Kevin Holland, he knocked out Jeff Neal. He is better than you think he is. He's also crazier than he thinks he is.
Shit.
That's the thing. He's a really decent technical fighter with a good game everywhere. He's just also nuts.
Yeah. But I feel like that you look at the greats, man. Look at Izzy. You think he's completely sane and normal, waking up and having some coffee and some toast and reading the paper?
We've all heard the story of Anderson Silva waiting outside of a gym in the bushes with a shotgun because some guy in the gym was disrespecting him, and his training partner's having to go collect him and take him home. These are not stable people.
No, they're think about it. These guys are gladiators,
Yeah.
So they'll get on the microphone and they'll sound normal, somewhat, and articulate sometimes, but they're killers, and let's not ever lose sight of that.
All right, that brings us to a featherweight bout. Giga Chikadze, Erwin Rivera. All credit to Rivera for stepping up to take this fight, for being willing to just give it a shot. For a round, he looked like he was, in it. He was going after Chikadze. He was doing the right thing you do when you get a last-minute call-up, which is just be like, I'm going to be tough and aggressive and hope something cool happens.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, did Chikadze spend 2 rounds just absolutely styling on him after that.
Yeah, man. I'm not surprised, honestly. I mean, we also got to say Rivera's a bantamweight. So,
yeah.
He coming up to 145 to take this fight, giving up weight, giving up tons of reach, length.
Yeah, he's a 5'6" bantamweight too. It's not like Dominic Cruz where he's 5'8", but his arms are short.
Right. No, this dude, he's short, stocky, fights like it.
He's a flyweight off his diet.
Right. Yeah. So by the second, third round, I mean, he's pretty much all that opening round aggressiveness is pretty much gone. All that explosiveness is gone. And he pretty much got stuck out at range, just getting picked apart. Anytime he would try to come in, he was eating really hard knees, well-timed knees at that. He ate them, and he kept trying and kept throwing. But, the level of polish on the feet that Chikadze had is just – it's a completely different level. And Rivera wasn't able to get the fight to the ground.
Yeah. I will say this. To Rivera's credit, or to Chikadze's credit, rather, I was really pleasantly surprised to see how well his cardio held up into the third round.
It's getting a lot better, lot better. And he also didn't have to stuff that many takedowns.
Yeah, it wasn't as likely as taxing a fight as his recent fights have been. But Rivera did go after him early, and that's been my worry about Chikadze has been even he'll have these amazingly technical first rounds, and then he'll have a competitive second round, and then he'll badly lose the third round, and that didn't happen this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just way more reserved, and he didn't go out and just dump his gas tank trying to spam every single fancy technique he knows.
Yeah,
like, he actually was like fighting. He was cerebral out there. Like he had a game plan, and there was some method to his madness, and it wasn't just like I'm just gonna go push all these buttons and hopefully some works, and then have no kind of gas tank towards the end of the fight. So excellent fight for Chikadze. Tough break because Mike Davis keeps pulling out of fights with him. It's the third time.
Yep.
So he says he's done with Davis. He won't give him another fight. And I don't blame him. Man, I love Giga Chikadze. He's so much fun. He goes off on these tangents on the microphone, and I'm a mark. I'm a mark.
Yeah, no, I'm glad he's doing well. All right, that brings us to a featherweight bout. Nate Landwehr, Darren Elkins, and it's kind of been overshadowed by all the other controversial scores, but this was kind of a controversial score at the time too. Mm-hmm. Like Elkins obviously really bloodied up. I think I was pretty sure by the end of it that they weren't going to give him the win, but a lot of people thought he was going to get that card. At the very least, it'd be 29-28. And Landwehr picked up a couple 30-27s.
Yeah, that's outrageous. The first round was Elkins, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Second round went to Nate. Third round, super close, but I even gave that one to Elkins.
Yeah, he did. Like, I'm looking at it, he did land more strikes than Landwehr, but most of that actually came down to the first round. Like, he kind of had to get the first round. He got a takedown. He outlanded him. He doubled up in total strikes on him and, outlanded him by like 10 insignificant strikes. So that's kind of the ridiculous one to not give him. And then after that, the rounds were razor thin. Mm-hmm. Rounds 2 and 3. So
yeah, I think too, you can give to Nate. He really did a lot of damage. He hurt Elkins without really getting hurt himself. Great fight, man. Like, talk about a war. Like, when I think of a war, this is the kind of blood. Like, after this was the third fight of the night. So after this, the entire canvas of the octagon was just sprinkled with blood. There's just dots everywhere. Pretty gross.
Yeah, it had people asking what the UFC even did with their ring canvas after fights. Did they just like get rid of it or what?
Burn it.
They'll probably try to clean it, but if they can't, I'm sure they'll just ditch it and get another.
There's a global pandemic. Burn it.
That's right. But yeah, exactly the kind of win Landwehr. I mean, arguable or not, it was exactly the kind of win Landwehr needed after that big run he had over an M1 where he came in with a belt. He came in with a lot of like, oh man, this is an aggressive wild man. He's going to be really fun. And then he gets like insta-slept by Herbert Burns. Mm-hmm. Really took the edge off of him. And this time he got to, come out, be crazy, be wild, do a bunch of showboating, get on the mic afterward, say a bunch of random nonsense, and
scream out Dana's name a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fun. Definitely a weirdie, and I love that. And he likes to bang, and I like that. And he's got hands.
Yeah.
So he's fun, man. He's definitely fun.
For Elkins, though, man, I mean, these fights are wearing on. They're starting to take some tolls,
What's that?
I said for Elkins, though, these fights are starting to take their toll.
Yeah, I mean, this conversation's getting sad. If we go down this path,
he's not getting insta knocked out yet. He's only been knocked out twice in his whole career still, but he's definitely getting just beat up and hurt and losing to a lower and lower caliber of opponent. And in this fight, the thing is that, like, Landwehr's wrestling is not that great, but Elkins could not he could not get his takedown game going at all once he got out of round one. And at that point, it was like Darren Elkins relegated to a volume kickboxing battle.
And that's always tough to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is his worst loss since Ted Worthington in 2009.
Yep.
Yikes. Yeah, that's 4 in a row for Elkins, man. That's tough. There's no happy ending there.
No.
Makes me sad.
Rough fallback for him. And the next one's just going to be like another super tough dude with that much lower a profile.
And or in Bellator.
Or that, yeah. All right, that brings us to a women's flyweight bout. Courtney Casey, Mara Romero Barella, and nice win for Casey. Barella came out, decided she didn't like trading punches with Casey, took her down right away, and just threw herself right into that armbar. Yeah, I mean, she was really surviving from Jump Street. As soon as Casey hit her back, she instantly started working for submissions, throwing up triangles, throwing up arm bars, just not laying there, not looking for sweeps or looking to get up, but just looking to attack and threaten from her back, trusting in her skills. And, I mean, that's huge. Yep. And, yeah, man, it's like I feel like Barella could have gotten out of that arm bar and just, like, put herself right back into it. Yeah. And like, I've seen that so many times. It does seem how especially at like, not that this is like the highest level of the UFC, but like in the UFC, it almost always seems like that's the way you see every armbar happen, is that the fighter recognizes it, fights it off, and then dives right back into it.
Like for me, I instantly go to Benson Henderson versus Anthony Pettis too.
Yeah.
When Pettis caught that arm bar, it's like you were right there. You could have gotten out and you didn't. Why? Yeah. Why? But Courtney Casey, man, she looked good off her bag. She looked like she knew what she was doing.
Yeah. Well, she did scare Jessica Aguilar from any kind of grappling game when they fought years ago, and Aguilar is a much more noted grappler than Barella, so she's got a really tough game off her back when she can, an aggressive game off her back when she can get to use it. It's one of the rare, you don't see that many arm bars from guard in the UFC at this point, so it's kind of a rare sub. Picked her up a performance of the night bonus, which is nice to see, along with Baeza. Really like seeing fighters who are not getting big paydays down the card pick up performance of the night bonuses, so.
Yeah, good for Casey. She's trying to switch things up, find new life at flyweight. She was at strawweight for a while. So this is a great flyweight debut for her.
Yeah, and she's got the frame for it. So
she got the frame and she's got the striking.
Yep. All right, and that finally brings us to a heavyweight bout. Rodrigo Nascimento beat Dontel Mays by submission, rear naked choke. And this is, it's not a special heavyweight fight. It's pretty sloppy for most of it. But I will say that little transition Nascimento hit from the clinch trip right to the back take, that was nifty. Very nifty.
And I felt like that was the only moment Mays had in the whole fight. He had his moment. He's winning. He's got Nascimento pressed against the cage. And then, it's a total implosion.
Yeah. It was a weird fight because it's two heavyweights who really only have one part of their games that they really do well, and they're not parts that interconnect at all. So
it was a very contender series kind of fight.
Yeah, pretty ugly. Nascimento getting the rare heavyweight submission win, though, especially kind of a rare heavyweight submission win that's not just a straight armbar or a Kimura.
Right, not the Kimura.
Yeah. But, it kicked off this card, like I say, this card's just kind of, the whole tone is overshadowed because, we get to talking about all these early fights and all that, and they were all fun. They were all interesting. They were all action-packed. And then you just slowly get into the main card, and then you get all these decisions where you're like, oh yeah, well maybe this could have gone this way, maybe this could have gone that way, and then it all wraps up with that main event where we're just kind of left going.
It's just a reminder of how much reality sucks, and just we will never just get what we want. Khabib Ferguson never going to happen. Any kind of happy ending that Fedor is not going to retire undefeated, or John Jones will probably end up getting that L. It's just we're doomed as a community of fight fans. There's something there. It's just we can't get the happy fairy tale stories that we want.
On that note, I think we're going to wrap this up before we try to delve into that.
It pisses me off, Zane. Can we just script one of these so I can get a happy ending?
All right. You can find me on Twitter at the Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado. And we will be back in 2 weeks, probably. It's not definite. Probably for UFC Fight Night 176, which may or may not take place in Nevada and may or may not be headlined by Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. So
these are uncertain times, people.
Yeah. Stay tuned for next time, and we'll see you then.